Shalom, shalom, and shalom. It's a very beautiful morning this morning, and just want to talk briefly with you all in regards to a few things. We could just start with the biblical text. Again, when we're looking at the biblical text, we do see two Christ. You see one Christ that is very strict with his teachings, such as, David couldn't build that temple because he had blood on his hands. And I'm going to keep saying this again. David could not build the temple because he had blood on his hands. So again, how is it that King Cyrus comes to play and King Cyrus is allowed to build the temple with all kind of blood on his hands? I mean, come on, guys. Come on, guys. Make it make sense. It has to make sense. Everything that God does, it makes sense, right? Can't have hot without cold. You can't have cold without hot. You can't have darkness without light. And you most certainly can't have light without darkness. Now, starting with that, and then going over into the New Testament, again, we see yet two Christos, two Christ. We see one where you're supposed to turn your cheek, turn your back, turn your head, turn your arm. I mean, the way this world is, boy, you're going to have to turn every portion of your body around and let them hit you. Seriously. But then you have another Christ who tells you, hey man, I came to bring division, and I came with a sword. You know what I'm saying? And not only that, he also told us that if they don't accept you, let me say this again. He also told us if they don't accept you, dust off your shoulders and keep it moving. Trust me, if you believe in that portion of the text, you'll have a whole lot more peace in your life. And I can understand why there is, this is like I said, we're just gonna have a talk, and we're gonna talk about the Bible. We're gonna jump around a little bit to involve some critical thinking into our minds, because I'm telling you, I know you guys are seeing things, some of the things that I'm seeing. Some people just don't have any critical thinking at all. In fact, I think some people just live and just don't think. And that is letting me know that what that 96-year-old lady told me back in 2000, let's see, my son is 8, he was 3 when I was doing my ministry rounds into the hospice. So that would be 5 years from now. So yeah, around about 2019, 2018, she told me straight up, and she was 96. She told me straight up, she said, baby, not everybody is human. And it kind of makes sense to me that not everybody is human. Because how can it go from to where we have been so intelligent to us now, so many people around us, and even our peers are just dumbfounded. They just don't think, man. They don't think. And I don't think you want to be around a person who just doesn't think. Because if you're around people who doesn't think, it could become a hazard, a very bad hazard in your life. We're going to go over some very interesting truths in regards to the text into what you see now, and we got receipts on these things. Where did this light come from? You know what I'm saying? And did light just appear out of nowhere? Because when we read the text in the beginning, it was dark. And our concept and our mind and the way we think, it's been really, really tainted. But let me tell you something. God's real ones are going to be the only ones who are going to awake. Only the real humans who are human, who have the mind of Christ or Christos, guess what, are going to awake. If you have a hard time, or you see people have a hard, are finding a hard time of waking up and understanding, or they just don't care, they don't want to pay attention, or they continue to move, and you see a big old drastic disaster coming, and they're just sitting there as if nothing's coming. Man, let them be, because 9 times out of 10, they're not human. They don't think like you, they don't feel like you, they may look like you, but guess what? They're not you. They're not human. And you know, it helps me to understand why God allowed them to have these animal rights, because some people like to do these rituals and these different magic, bombastic tricks. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to let you know, for real, man, cutting up cats and dogs and putting them in shoe boxes and throwing them in the closet and God knows wherever else. It's not going to work. You could break your glass, you could throw it on the ground. Heck, you could throw it on my car, you could throw it wherever you like. It's not going to work. You know, magic tricks don't work on God's people. And in fact, magic tricks are for those people who are not human. You know, so just reminds me that we're living in a time where God told us we can speak to a thing and it will move. And it kind of reminds me of when he said that, you know, you guys are lacking faith. You don't have that faith. And again, it also reminds me of the talk that he had with Job when he asked him about that darkness. So we're going to be going over that darkness. You know, something the Rosicrucians, if I'm pronouncing that right, they really held some secrets. And these Masonic boys and girls hold some secrets. But you know, there's nothing secret with God's people, especially when you walk in the Spirit, especially when you know you're living in a dark world, especially when you know you have a very good imagination and you can use it for the things of God, use it for the kingdom, to bring down those things out of the darkness, rightfully, to harmonize, not with this fictitious light that we're going to see as it rises, but the true light within that gives spark, that gives animation, that gives motion to things, the right motion, not the motion that becomes into animation and then it becomes destroyed. That's kind of like mechanism or mechanisms or mechanics. But we're talking the eternal motion that continues to go on, that's outside of time, that you and I know good and well that resides in the dark and in this darkened mind. Not a darkened mind in virtue, but a darkened mind to know that this vehicle or this house came from somebody's idea and mind. The truth of that would be the shadow that you would see. However, we're going to be going over that. Some of the things the Rosicrucians kept from us and try to hide. We don't want you and I to know about these things. But we must understand these things. We have to grow and rise. It's important that we grow and rise in spirit. You see, we've done those things in the flesh, and you see where it's leading to. It's leading to death, judgment. And there's a lot of judgment going forth. And in fact, more judgment is going to go forth, because in my generation from the 70s, 80s, you know, around that time, we kind of did things together. So now that we're adults and some of us know we're leaders and some of us don't know we're leaders and we're leaders, how is it that you find that you don't need to do things together? Who told us that? Who bamboozled us? Right? So, in essence, we have to learn to come together in mind, in spirit, and in heart, in your respective places. You know, of course, you may be listening to me, you might be 10, states, or maybe a country away from me. So you must be able to acknowledge and recognize those individuals that God brings into your life to be able to connect to grow. That's what it's all about. It's about growing and ascending, climbing the heights, finding our way back to the Most High. It's narrow. And it makes a lot of sense, because how can you find something in the dark? That's what Christ said. Many will come, but only a few will find. We have to find him. And I tell you, when I say there's no need for magic tricks, no, there's no need for magic at all. You know our God and our powers in the healing business. He will heal you. Come here, Tiger. Come here. Come here, HK. It's my little cats. He will heal you. Hey, babe. The Most High will heal you. Straight up. He will set you free. You know, a lot of us have jobs. A lot of y'all have to get up and go to jobs today that you know good and well that you don't like. I mean, the guy talks to you like trash. Old girl that you think, that she thinks you're her friend, you know she is two-faced and double-minded. Can't wait for you to turn your back so she can start dogging them. And then some of your workers, you already know, they ready to set you up. You see, God has given us the word. And this word sets the captives free. Because some of y'all are held captive by your jobs. And you're not going to tell me you're not. Some of y'all can't move freely because you're held captive by your jobs. Some of y'all can't think right because you're held captive in the mind. And it's true, you know. And I know it's true because I was once there. You know what I'm saying? You know, anytime that you have to know that before you have already got off of work, you already tired of being there. You know what I'm saying? Or before you get up and go to work, you already having negative thoughts. You already know all the output that you got to put out, and no one gives you the input. You know what I mean? People want your energy but don't pour back into you. You know, not saying they have to pour back into you, but I mean, you know, when you go to work, you know, things work a lot better when you work together. And that's just the honest truth. You know what I mean? That's why we see this debauchery and this foolery today, because you got a bunch of fools working together. But I tell you, man, we're coming in a time where your money's not going to be able to save you. Nor is your technology. Your money nor your technology is going to be able to save you. Let me say that again real clear. To those of you that have money, we're coming into a time where your money is not going to be able to save you, nor is your technology going to be able to save you. And we're coming in that time. Matter of fact, I believe we're heading into that time like rather rapidly. Because you find that, I mean, by them dropping down the grading scale, can you imagine today's or 10 years down the road, 10-year physician operating on you? Can you imagine that? When you know that grading system has went down. And I mean, not to mention, oh man, goodness gracious, not to mention all this crazy stuff with this BBL and this fictitious bodies going around. But I mean, again, like I tell people, hey, again, not everybody is human, man. I'm not saying nothing about the Sun and the Y and the masses. Because you already know, man, they don't fit our classes, man. They're not human. I'm telling you, they're not human. This is like a Tyrone effect, man. It's like, how many Tyrones y'all gonna bring out? How many Tyrones y'all wanna use? Your sorcery is wearing out. It's not working. You know, it's like the movie, The Never Ending Story. You see, when before the boy could get a hold of the oracles, he first had to get over his fear, right? You know, those guys chasing him. And then he runs into an old wise man that tells him, you're not ready for this. Even though he knows he's ready for this. But the boy needs to know he's ready for this. He goes to the school, and the first class that pops up, oh my goodness, it's math. And we all know math and science are our top tier course studies. Math and science. And he's like, math. Don't want it. And I mean, it makes sense because the math y'all mathing today ain't mathing. It's just not. And then he goes into this red door. It's almost like he's going through the initiation. And he goes into the attic to rise above. And he opens the book. And that's kind of like where we are today, right? God has taken us through this evolution period of man to come back to the things of the spirit, to come back to that thing that animates this shell. Because this shell is just a suit. That's all it is. It's just a suit. And you know it's going to go right back to the ground. And that which is within us, through the sound of my voice, is that spark of life. The light of men. And why that light man can't comprehend? Because it comes from the dark. So, don't want to say too much, but I believe I said enough of what the Holy Spirit allowed me to speak with you in regards to what I'm working on. You know, I know a lot of brothers, well, a few brothers that just be like, man, why don't you just get up and speak? You know, I love getting up to speak, but sometimes I feel like sometimes when you get up and speak and, you know, you can leave a few things out. So I write my things down. I write the vision down. There's nothing wrong with that. I tell you, when I write my vision down, God has me to write my vision down. I tell you, he accomplishes a lot of those things and allows, as he works through me, allows me to accomplish a lot of things that I see within that vision and other things that coincide that vision that I didn't think to write down. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing to operate in faith. It's a beautiful thing to speak to something and it comes. It's a beautiful thing to know that you can talk to God and God answers you. It's a beautiful thing to know that you can talk to God and he's silent and he wants you to just wait and be patient. And some of us, we are in a time where he just wants us to sit and be still and know that he is God. Sit and be still and know that he's God. Apply every inch of the knowledge of the Spirit that you know in every crevice of your life. And I'm not talking about the life that one sees, but the life that's within that life. See, the life that we see is just an imagination of somebody else. This life that we see is an imagination, is somebody else's imagination. God would not give us machines for us to kill ourselves. God doesn't give us things that destroy ourselves. You know good and well, a lot of things that have been created in the darkened mind of today's society will destroy you. A matter of fact, I can name 1,000 creations that can give you cancer to this day, and you can too. So, let us continue to walk in the light and find that light, grab hold of that light, and allow it to live within in this darkened world. Speak to you shortly and soon. Blessings and peace. Have a blessed, prosperous, and wonderful day wherever you reside. Shalom.